And ladies and gentlemen, we are off. It is time to go. Game number 3, Moonglade versus Apocalypse. Losers round 3. So rather round 5. My apologies. And as it sits right now, it is tied. Both games, one going to each player. So, Josh, could you be so kind as to introduce these players before I completely step all over my tongue?
Oh, no problem, man. That's kind of what happens when you cast this long. In the bottom right-hand side of this map on Belshir Vestige is Moonglade playing for Team NV. He's our red Zerg player. And in the top left-hand position is Quantic Apocalypse as the blue Terran. And Quantic Apocalypse won the first game in a match that we didn't actually get to observe. They did one game without us before we jumped into the second game. But Moonglade tied it up in the second game with some great army control, amazing engagements, and just off-the-charts macro. And I'm really looking forward to see what we're going to have this game. Because it's Moonglade, I'm going to bet that Moonglade plays very standard and goes for his comfort zone, his mid-game versus Lingling Muta, transition into the late game with Ultralisk and eventually adding on Infestors. But I don't know very much about Apocalypse. I don't know very much about what he likes to play, what his comfort zones are in TVZ. What do you think we're going to see from Apocalypse, Brad?
Well, I mean, just looking at the second game, we have casted Apocalypse earlier in this tournament, and I mean, I think his second game is fairly standard for him. He does like to do a lot of drop. Obviously, he likes to continue to try and tax the ability of his opponent to be able to transition his forces back and forth to basically try and tax the multitasking. Now, that being said, Moonglade is fairly good at multitasking. He's able to keep track of what's going on and be able to address them as quickly as he can. However, from what I've seen from last game, he does like to bunch his forces into one ginormous ball and then move them around all at once. That being said, he did also demonstrate his ability to be able to handle his Mutalisks all in one group and then handle his Zerglings and such in another group to help with defense. So he's capable of doing both. And with Belshir Vestige, drop play is going to occur. It's just the way this map was built. You can get in and out fairly quickly, especially with the third. For example, if you're taking the lower third position, if you're in the Terran, you can transition between the third and the main very easily. Likewise, with Moonglade, if he is to do a drop action, going from the third and into the main is very easy to do. For drop play, at least. We do have a Reaper headed out, so again, very standard opener for Apocalypse. As we do see, they did not go CC first, actually. He's going to throw that on the CC second. I think this has to do with the fact that this is a fairly smaller map by comparison, and ultimately, at the end of the day, he's not able to expand, I guess you could say, as safely as possible. Maybe he thinks that Moonglade is going to try some early pressure or something.
Yeah, and in this case, Moonglade is not. He's actually Moonglade might lose that drone. That's so close! Wow, that could have been very different. Moonglade has pulled guys off of gas, so he's going to just go back to his standard opening. He's going to make a couple of Zerglings to shoo away that Reaper. His Queens are going to come out, and that'll really save his drones. And he's going to drone up quite a bit. Now, something that Moonglade didn't do in the last game that he might do this game is go for a little bit of a speed lane timing. That's something that's pretty common in TVZ against Reapers if you do this opening that Moonglade is doing, where he gets gas and pulls guys off of it after speed. At around 40 supply, you stop making drones, you take your third, and then you make speed lanes, and you, not very many, just a few, say 10 to 15, and then you go and do pressure against the natural of the opponent. But Moonglade is definitely a macro player, definitely a pretty passive player even until the mid-game, unlike someone like Life, who would definitely go for that sort of play. So he may just opt to keep droning, keep expanding, and get into the mid-game as quick as possible.
And a very quick third CC, pre-6-minute third CC out of Apocalypse. I think he likes what he sees, and he feels that he's not going to get any pressure anytime soon, and that he should expand himself as well. And so he is going to take that very quickly. We do see Widowmine production starting, so it looks very similar to the last game where it looks like it is going to be a Marine Bio Widowmine build. Looks like Command Center kind of getting pinned here as the Orbital Command. He's going to pick it up to try and save it. He's going to transition back on over. He is going to lose that supply depot simply because of the fact there's nothing here to help handle it. And he's going to burrow the Widowmine. The Zerglings, I don't think, know that it is there. However, that being said, these Reapers are caught out of position and just sneak away with literally 10 health apiece. And these Zerglings are going to chase in hot pursuit. 2 of them are going to stay on the high ground here, just outside the natural. And it looks like Apocalypse feels pretty good about this, and he's going to transition his command center back down. That being said, his other command centers now are transitioning over into an orbital command, and his starboard has also completed. We do have a couple more Widow Mines burrowing as well, and it looks like he's going to try and utilize these so he can get a couple of shots off. It's enough to scare away. I love it. Getting the Zerglings directly underneath that orbital command, unable to land it, and that is just going to slow things down quite a bit for Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's a really nice play from Moonglade. I like this kind of aggression because it's not very committal. It does a little bit of damage, and it's not going to hit the game, but it definitely can get your advantage rolling and eventually snowball into something else. Spore crawlers are being thrown down in both bases, and that I'm not really sure why he went for that. Because of that Overlord, he knows that it's 3 CC and that it's 1/1/1 as the opener from his opponent. So not a whole lot of units, but only 3 production facilities. Where one of those is probably going to be medevacs, although in this case it's Banshees. But since it is Banshees in this case, these Spore crawlers are going to pay off. But otherwise, it's a little bit of an unnecessary risk. 1/1 coming down for Moonglade. As well as a layer coming up, and that third base finish, he's going to start saturating that. Although, this is very interesting. +1 missile attacks, not Bling Bling muted this game then.
No, I think we might see some Roach Hydra action. That would make sense with previous games that we've seen with Zerg players in this particular map because of the close map, the close spawn positions where the transition across the map isn't so brutal. That Roach Hydra, maybe it's going to be a 3-base Roach Hydra build. I'm not certain. That would make the most sense to me. I think he's definitely gearing up for something like that. We do have the Roach Warren currently in production as well, right alongside both of those Evolution chambers. So it does make sense that he would go that. And there is a bit of an attack here. We do have that Banshee working away on the Queen. We do have these these Hellions killing off a lot of these Zerglings, and really good control here by Apocalypse, making sure that he gets as much of a Zerg BQ as he can. And unfortunately, though, at the same token, he is going to lose all of those Hellions, and I think he even lost, actually. No, he did not lose the Banshee. She did manage to fly away with 14 health.
Yeah, and third base from Apocalypse does get landed around the same time that more drones are coming around for Moonglade at the third base. So they're both going to be saturating their third bases around the same time, or trying to saturate their third bases around the same time. And this is interesting. +1 missile attacks was just canceled when it was just about to finish, and now it's +1 melee attack. That's very weird. Fire is now on the way, so it looks like Moonglade said, I don't want to do that. That makes me nervous. Let's just play Bling Bling Muta just a little bit behind. That upgrade is going to be later than it would normally be, but other than that, no real commitments were made. So that's okay. It's just a little bit weird, a little bit indecisive by Moonglade. On Apocalypse's end of the map, he's got 1/1 just about to finish, so Moonglade is going to be behind in upgrades. He's got a lot of productions coming up. The armory is about to finish, so he can continue right into 2-2, and more SCVs are on the way. A little bit of a lull here in the action, though.
Indeed. It looks like everybody's just kind of stabilizing out. There's a 4th base being taken over on the left-hand side of the map by Moonglade. Taking a look at the economy side of things, it's not like he needs the extra drones or anything, but it is going to get spotted by this drop, and they're going to get some shots off. Are they going to be able to kill it, or are they going to be able to fetch a cancel out of this? Obviously, Moonglade is going to want to prefer to have a cancel. It does get canceled there, and he recoups 225 minerals that were expended in the production of that. With that being said, these Marines are, well, they're hot-footing it all the way on into this third base. They do have a good number of Queens to contend with this, as well as some Zerglings. Zerglings are now dead. They did focus fire down the one Queen. Unfortunately, second one does ultimately fall. I think they might be able to get a third. Mutalisks do pop out, but not enough to be able to take on this 8-pack of Marines. I stand corrected, there's now enough. It looks like there's 7 units. They're going to start working it down. You can see focus firing down each Marine one by one to ensure that the medevac does not keep them all alive, and then medevac is also going to fall. I think it's a good trade, though. He was able to get a cancel on that one base. He was able to kill off 3 Queens, which in itself is actually really big because that means there's less larvae to be injected nearby. The creep is going to be spread much more slowly, and that's going to be another bunch of minerals that Moonglade is going to have to spend on Queens in order to be able to continue on with the same strategy as he would like to employ.
Yeah, the 4th base is coming up from Moonglade now, and some Mutalisks in the main base of Apocalypse, and the Marines are a little bit out of position. This reaction may get sniped. But no, he is forced away a little bit. There's not a whole lot of missile turrets, so that these Mutalisks could easily come back into this main base if they wanted to as soon as the Marines are kind of shoot away. And yeah, Apocalypse says, I don't have enough anti-air, so he's going to start some missile turrets as well. I would like to see some Zerglings up by the 3rd base of Apocalypse so that they can just kind of do 2-pronged attack with Mutalisks into the main and Lings into 3rd base. But Apocalypse is kind of preempting that. He's got 4 Widow Mines and a bunker at the 4th base, or at the 3rd base, and he does not want to lose anything there. A little bit of an engagement coming up with the Mutalisk into the missile turrets. Oh, actually, he's found a sweet spot where he can do some damage to SCVs and the engineering base, although he's shoot away by just a few Marines, just a couple. And the 5th base coming down now from Moonglade.
Yeah, Moonglade looks like he's in very commanding position here. He's just been able to expand with impunity. And he looks like he's just very, very content, very, very happy. He's able to continually apply a pressure with these Mutalisks. Like I was mentioning, between the 3rd and the main is a great place to just go in and out, and that's precisely what he's doing. He's able to go in, make a snipe, kill off a couple of units, attract some attention, and then get the heck out. As you can see, that's exactly what he's going to do. These Marines do shoot them out, but I mean, at the end of the day, 100 minerals lost with regards to that turret, and also the SCV building another 50 minerals. These are minor victories, but more importantly, it is keeping his opponent passive and in his end of the court. And then, as you can see, the creep now expanding out to all of the bases, connecting them all very, very well. We've got a good handful of Zerglings on the ground. They do have 1-2 upgrades. That additional +2 melee attacks is going to be delayed because of the fact that he did start this much, much later after he canceled that missile attacks you were mentioning. A bit of a drop action going down by Apocalypse over on the right-hand side in that 5th base location that had gone up. And it looks like a good number of Baneling hits will take care of that, and that's going to get mopped up. But 1 is never enough when it comes to Apocalypse. 2 is always better than 1, and they continue to work away. But the Mutalisks do show up, and they clean it up very, very quickly indeed, saving this hatchery so that it does not ultimately fall. So unfortunately for Apocalypse, both of those attacks, unfortunately, not really getting any kind of good results.
Yeah, it was a good idea. The double drop is always very, very potent. But now there's so many Mutalisks. There's 34 Mutalisks out on the map right now. That's so many. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage. He's sniping the engineering base. This is exactly what Moonglade's needed to do. This is amazing play by him. He knows exactly what he needs to do to come back into this game. He's behind in upgrades, or would be, except that now they're equal. The engineering base have both been sniped, and the replacement base have been sniped. That's huge. Now, I would really love to see Moonglade put down an infestation pit and start attempting to hide himself. He's delayed 3-3 from the Terran player, and then I believe he should tech up and get 3-3 himself so that he can not be as behind whenever 3-3 actually does get finished.
At the same time, over on the right-hand side of the map, a counter drop by Apocalypse is going to take care of Moonglade's 5th base, and he's going to actually just fly on down and into the main. I think he's trying to see if there's any tech structures that he can take care of, and he's going to drop off his units, maybe try to take care of the Spire that he knows is causing him so much grief. Looks like +1 flyer attacks is going to be researched there, but these Marines are trying to get a stim. They do get a lot of shots off on it, and they do get a kill on that Spire. Immediately another one getting thrown down, but that is a solid minute and a half away, a little over that actually, and these drop actually flies right on out with 6 of its passengers inside. Hurt, but still good, and we do see a 5th, just literally, it's in the 3rd base location of his opponent, so well, rather his 4th base location for Apocalypse. So Moonglade very cheekily expanding up into there. There is a drop going on the left-hand side of the map. A good number of workers getting roasted here by these 4 Hellbats. It's just Hellbats as well. So these Zerglings are also going to die very, very quickly as well. Although it does look like the hatchery is being target fired, but it's not going to be very good for the Hellbats, and they do get picked up and they're flown out of there quite quickly.
Yeah, a big Mutalisk block actually did a lot of damage to Apocalypse. He sniped the command center, and now he's in the 3rd base of Apocalypse, doing damage to the mineral line. Actually going to snipe the command center. This could be huge. He's going to be shoot away by these Zerglings, but this has bought Moonglade a lot of time. This aggression has made it so that all of Apocalypse's army has been forced back to the 3rd. There's 1 drop out of the map right now, and that can be attacked with the Zerglings by this base that's actually right next to Apocalypse's main. So this is, oh my goodness, this is so good play from Moonglade. He's doing to Apocalypse what Apocalypse is doing to him in the 2nd game, and Apocalypse is having a big, difficult time dealing with it. He's just tasking his multitasking.
Yeah, absolutely. More importantly, it's keeping him defensive. It's not allowing Apocalypse to be able to expand out. And as we see, Orbital Command is going to get landed, and these Mutalisks are going to show up. Despite the 2 missile turrets that are there, they're just going to, well, take care of the missile turrets and fly on by. I think they should perhaps have stopped and taken care of it. But Moonglade, knowing that every Mutalisk is not to be wasted and trifled with, every dime is worth spending. And another drop going on the left-hand side of the map. Looks like I got some Hellbats and a handful of Marines in here, but that is going to get Looks like it's probably going to get picked up. Yes, indeed it does. And these, these medevacs are going to hightail it out of there. We do have a large military over on the right-hand side of the map, and this squad of Marines as well as Hellbats is going to transition on up the ramp and in towards this 5th base on the right-hand side, and it's going to take. It looks like they're going to focus it down. Yeah, and they're going to take it out. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks, as well as some Zerglings, some Banelings, and, well, pretty much everything, are going to fly on over and try and take care of what they can. They do get a Widow Mine, a couple of Marines, a Hellbat, all in the mix, but meanwhile, that base has gone down on the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, I would really like to see Moonglade do some kind of backstab into the natural of his opponent. There's not a whole lot of defense there, and he could really get on top of the production of Apocalypse. But Moonglade is playing much more economically minded. There is a drop at the natural of Moonglade that's doing quite a bit of damage. Hellbats are pretty good, even late in the game, guys, if you're not aware of that. But he does get that cleaned up with his Mutalist, and here it goes. And now the Hive has been finished, 3-3 is on the way, Ultralisk Cavern has been started. Let's take a look at the upgrades. 3-3 is done for our Terran player, and Moonglade is trying to hold on for his 3-3 and for his Ultralisks. That's his end game. Once he gets to Ultralisks, he knows he's going to have a really large advantage. He's trying to set himself up to be in a position where his Ultralisks will be able to end the game for him. His Ultralisks are his game winner. So now, yeah, there's so many Mutalisks, 37 Mutalisks that are in the production of our Terran player, and Zergling Baneling is back at home to defend the counter push from Apocalypse, and this is going to do so much damage, Brad.
Oh, absolutely. We can even see that there's a good number of them, and they're actually just leaving, I think, out of courtesy more than that they could have taken out this Marine force, no problem. There's just so many of them flying around. Meanwhile, there's a very, very large drop of Marines, Hellbats, and the like, all trying to scramble for their lives and ultimately are killed off by these Zerglings and Banelings. There's also another drop on the left-hand side of the map, a small force trying to take care of this this expansion, this hatchery as it's forming. Meanwhile, another bunch of Marines are also working away on the other hatchery and are successful in shutting it down. And honestly, Apocalypse is doing a great job just killing off a lot of these hatcheries and doing as much damage as he can. Still trying to, and he's actually long-distance mining from Moonglade's own base. And then, meanwhile, a pile of more Marines are going to show on up and try and push Moonglade out of this corner here. He needs this for his own expansion. And it looks like there's just enough Mutalisks here to try and take this out. No, Moonglade decides that's maybe not the best idea, but it is certainly a chess match that is not being won by Apocalypse in this left-hand side corner.
Yeah, this base was secured by Moonglade, and I really like this. I feel like as soon as these Ultralisks pop up, yeah, here they go, here are the Ultralisks. This can be the turning point of this game. This hatch should not die. You should be able to take this out with the Ultralisk and the Mutalisk, although he's a little bit out of position to do that. But with the Ultralisk and the Mutalisk here, he can tank a lot of the Widow Mines and just kill that army straight up. Now it's 198 supply versus 144. There is a drop happening in this natural base of Moonglade that's going to actually send the Baneling Nest. That can be pretty big. Oh man, Apocalypse could also smack the Evolution Chambers. That would be worse. Baneling Nest does go down, but the Evolution Chambers to get out scot-free, and that drop gets up and gets out of there, although the Mutalisk will probably try and clean that up as well. Fifth base for Moonglade. That has been the subject of a ton of contention between these two players, and Moonglade really wants to get it up. Once he secures that fifth base, that 9th and 10th gas, that's when he can really kick into high gear with all of his production. But at this point, I should say that under the normal circumstances, he needs that 90% gas. But at this point, he's actually got 6K, 3K banked up. I feel like Moonglade could just go in and move all of his guys, all of his army at his opponent, and then do enough damage that with his remax off of 6K, 3K, he actually does the finishing blow. And I would really like to see him deny Apocalypse this game.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you. And the reason why I say that, and simply put, is because it looks like Moonglade has put a great deal of thought into how this game is going to go. He's got a plan. He knows where his end game is going to be. It's going to be this Ultralisk. This is the strategy he's going to employ. That being said, Apocalypse has really not done much except run with Marines. He's now starting to add a couple of Marauders as a result of the Ultralisk. But he's got a couple of Hellbats and some Widow Mines, but he's not really transitioned out of this. I don't think he should realize by now that this is not going to win him the game. It's just a defensive measure at this particular point in time. He's trying to stay in it until Moonglade makes a big enough mistake. I just don't see this Marine force winning. He needs to transition to tanks. He needs to transition to something, or even Thors perhaps, something that will get a bonus against these heavily armored Ultralisks so that he can shut them down. Something that will give him a better advantage against this very, very large, very, very fast Air Force of Mutalisks. So I just feel that Apocalypse is just kind of stuck at this particular point. He's in that mid-game rut that he's not been able to exit.
Yeah, I definitely agree. There's another drop happening at the fourth base of Moonglade. The fifth base Moonglade has now been secured, although there is a drop heading that way with Hellbats, but with no drones there, that shouldn't do too much damage. And I really want to see Moonglade set up a big flank on that fourth base from Apocalypse. That's the last thing that Apocalypse has. And if you can set up a big flank with Bling Bang, Ultralisk, or just flying with so many Mutalisks, oh my gosh, so many Mutalisks just got sniped. That's such a big deal. Now Apocalypse takes the supply lead, and Mutalisk and Moonglade is going to remax as quick as he can. But that was disgusting.
Oh.
That was the most effective engagement that he could have won.
And that's exactly what Apocalypse was looking for. That one big mistake. They flew right into the Widow Mines, literally losing half of his Mutalisk force. Like, all of those Mutas just fall into the ground as broken corpses. That base ultimately falls. The other base falls as well. And really, at the end of the day, looks like Moonglade is now mining off of a small couple of patches in his third. He does have a good supply of minerals banked. He can basically play for a good while, actually, as long as he doesn't lose too many forces. But right now, as it sits, it's well, actually, he's got the advantage, 200 to 165, and starting to fall. And it looks like Ultralisks are starting to work forward. Widow Mines are getting some additional shots off, trying to get these Ultralisks to fall. But at the end of the day, so many Marines are going to perish indeed, as they die. And these Ultralisks are going to just push them all the way on up. A couple of more Widow Mines do get burrowed. Oh, and some more shots get off onto the Mutalisk as well as the Ultralisks on the ground, and that's enough apparently just to push him back. He wants to just I think he should take a minute here, kind of get a base situated, maybe defend it for a little bit and get his economy going, because he just went from 4,000 minerals down to 1,000 in about the whole of a minute.
Yeah, that was... If there was no bank, that would have been the throw of a lifetime. Moonglade would have just been kicking himself for days after that. That would have been so bad. Moonglade is still the person with the advantage in this game, I do want to say. And he's actually rebuilding Mutalisks. He's now got 27, is that right? I'm totally wrong. It's 21. But he is taking his fourth and fifth again for like the seventh time this series. He's got 10 Ultralisks, 6 Zerglings, and 12 Banelings. He needs to defend his bases. That's what he needs to do. He needs to hold on to the bases, secure them, and then go for the counter push. But his Mutalisks start taking up quite a lot of his army supply, and they're being very active out on the map, and that may be ultimately what he feels is the problem. He can't actually defend sort of his army that well. And there is an engagement with Bio just driving Ultralisks into Widow Mines. Banelings are dying, and this is a really cost-effective engagement. Apocalypse, I'm worried that Moonglade is maybe overextending quite a bit.
Yeah, these Widow Mines have been keeping Apocalypse in this game. They are so good. And as you can see, he's actually chasing the Ultralisks with his Marines. They're stemming, and he's going to do a quick pickup and get on out of here. And I think flying back, yep, he's going to go fly over top of the Widow Mine, so then that way he could try and bait these Ultralisks into more Widow Mine action. Yes, indeed, to get some more shots off. And then a quick pickup and into the main as well. Looks like Mutalisks are going to instead of continuing the pursuit, they're going to try and take care of all of these SCVs, and combined with the forces of the Ultralisks, they do precisely that. So SCV bits all over the ground, and this command center ultimately does fall. And this is actually a substantially different outcome than when Moonglade lost his bases. We're now in a situation where Apocalypse doesn't have the bank to be able to recover from this.
Yeah, exactly. Apocalypse is down, let's see, 70 supply. He is actually lifting his natural command center to go take his fourth base. Again, he needs that fourth base. This game is all about economy. Both players just having absolute slugfests with each other. But I'm not sure that Moonglade is going to let him have that fourth base. Moonglade has secured his fourth base, finally. That base is going strong. He needs to secure his fifth. But Bling Ultralisk with Mutalisks should be able to clean this up as long as there's no silly Mutalisks straight over Infinity Widow Mines. Once this engagement happens, this will be the end of the game. The army supply right now is 101 to 78. It's not as one-sided as you would think because there's so many more workers from Moonglade, but this still heavily favors Moonglade.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about 30 supply difference between the two. I think the biggest one is that the Widow Mines, if you can get a couple of them, there's a couple that are unburrowed as it speaks right now, but if there's a couple of more Widow Mines in this mix, he can actually hold out for quite some time. These Marines are going to try and engage and get some free kills here. Try to drag these forces up into the middle of Widow Mines again. Maybe see if we can get some more connections. A lot of these Ultralisks tanking a lot of the damage and not dying, and a quick pickup as well. And does he manage to pick up the orbital fan? No, no point. It is going to get killed off very, very quickly. It's a small drop that was over here on the right-hand side of the map. I stand correct, actually. It's just one Marine who may be able to be a hero and take care of this one hatch. It does not look like that is going to occur. There are reinforcements flying on over. Apocalypse in a very bad position here. I think he knows certain doom is coming. He's now floating off his third base's orbital command and moving it on down towards the fourth. This one hatchery is still continuing to survive. He's actually mutating it into... No, it's... I think it was canceled and another one went down in its place. Or they canceled the production and dropped a new one so that then that way it wouldn't die. But either way, at the end of the day, there's just a small force of Marines, a couple of Marauders, and some Medevacs trying to hold out against a very large death ball of Ultralisks, Mutalisks, and a handful of Lings in there, I think, as well.
Yeah, and this is it. That's the GG. Apocalypse goes down 1-2, favoring Moonglade. Way to go, Moonglade. That was an excellent series. I'm so glad I got to cast that, even if I missed the first game. Moonglade played a phenomenal game and was playing with my heart, even with those. Oh my gosh, that mid game was just making me so scared, man. I didn't know what to do.
I feel so bad for Apocalypse because, you know, he was playing so well, and it's just like... it just didn't work out for him. Like, he was really on the ropes. Those Widow Mines brought him back into the game, and then he wasn't able to really keep it together and continue on. But you know what? A very, very well-deserved win from Moonglade. Definitely, you know, going into second game, he's behind a game, pulls it together, goes into the third game, and finishes it off. He is going to advance and see Sauce. I don't envy that position, though. Sauce is going to be a fierce competitor. He's going to be quite troubled with, I think. But Moonglade versus Sauce is his next match that he's going to be looking forward to. I think we should take a bit of a commercial break. What do you think?
Yeah, we're actually going to have a little bit of downtime as our matches for this hour are not scheduled. We don't have anybody today for this particular hour. We will run a few commercials, but after that, it's just going to be some dead air time. So feel free to run to the store, get some snacks, get a couple of beers, come back, and we'll be back around. I want to say we'll be back around 6 p.m. PDT. And we'll be able to show you one more game after that. And after that, I think we're changing around the stream to see what stream gets what games. And so we'll let you know what happens after that.
Yep, stay tuned to the ticker. There's going to be, coming up next, I'll be putting announcements onto that page there, so then that way we can all stay tuned. And so just check back periodically. Keep the window open, of course. Check out the mainstream as well. And guys and girls, don't be afraid to grab very quickly the $9.99 1080p high-def package. So be a subscriber on Twitch, and with this... you get a whole bunch of little incentives like 1080p on the mainstream. You also get subscriber-only chat on the mainstream. Only cheap, $9.99. It's cheaper than going to the movies. Check it out. Also, at the same time, we are going to get as much information with regards... Now, it's currently 7:19 Pacific, or rather 7:12 Pacific. We're not going to be casting this hour. I think we resume at 8 o'clock. We'll have more details for you. We'll announce it to you as we get them. Stay tuned. We'll be back in about an hour's time or so. My name is Nightshade.
I'm Judge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here in about an hour.